In today's video, I'll be completing 2 DIY projects that will add some much needed character to my plain, boring living room. Farmhouse trim molding will be the first project. I'll take you through step by step. And the second is a shiplap feature wall above my fireplace. If you're looking for budget-friendly ways to add character to your home, then stay tuned because this is the video for you. Now, as you guys can see, I am really delayed in getting this video out to you because I did it back in November. There's the foyer. You saw that video, that transformation last week. So now I'm getting to showing you guys the other DIY projects that I've worked on. This is my inspiration pick, so let's see if mine turns out as nice as that one. The first thing that I did was marked all my studs because I'm not using adhesive. I'm just using my brad nailer, so I wanted to make sure that I hit the studs. And I'm using, this is a 1x6, and so there's a 1x6 that's placed on the wall, and then a 1x4 that will be placed on the ceiling. My boards are 8 feet in length, and I used 8 of each size for a total price for this project of about $115. If you know anything about molding, then you would realize what an amazing price that is. It's so budget friendly. Crown molding would have cost me so much more, and it provided character. It turned out great. I'm happy with it, and it was easy. Crown molding is expensive, and it's a lot hard. It's a lot harder to get the angles, and with this project, you don't have to worry about the angles. It's all straight cuts. One of the biggest tips that I want to give you for this project is to make sure that when you are shopping for your boards that they are straight. Make sure that they are not bowed. Inspect each one, and also I would suggest to maybe purchase 1 or possibly 2, depending on your budget, extra. Just because when you're at the store, you might think they're straight, and when you get home and they're not as straight as you thought they were, and then you can, then you have some backup boards. But that definitely is important to make sure that your boards are straight.
Talk to me, baby, I've been waiting for a lifetime. Just keep on fading in all these photos, caught in the memories and captured in the highlights. Just keep on wasting. Glass after glass, I keep hoping you'll come around, drowning our fights in whatever can be found, 'cause I've given in to all my demons lately.
If you're new here, I'd like to give you a special welcome and introduce myself. My name is Christy, and on my channel you'll find a lot of DIY home improvement projects, DIY home decor projects, some cleaning, organization, and of course lots of decorating also. But basically I am redoing my entire house room by room, inside and out, this spring. I can't wait till it starts warming up because I'm itching to get outside to start on the outside. But I will be painting my house this summer, spring, summer, and just doing a lot of stuff outside. So for right now I'm working inside, and my next project is my daughter's room. I will be completely, well, we might as well say I'm gutting it except for the walls. I do have some walls to fix, but I will be completely redoing her room, flooring, everything. So stay tuned for that. I am starting that this coming weekend. So you'll be seeing that video, or at least the first video of that project next week. So just like to welcome you, and of course if you're already a subscriber, welcome back. I'm so happy that you're here. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you can be made aware when my videos come out.
Sing for me, darling, it's been quiet for a day now. Can't bear the silence.
Before moving on to the next step, I just wanted to show you that this is what your corner is going to look like before you get it all finished off. And it's all straight cuts. They're just butted up against each other. And so this next step, I'm just taking some wood filler and filling in all of the holes. There are a lot of holes, so this part took a minute. But after it dried, then I went ahead and sanded it with the 200 grit sandpaper.
My own head, I keep on hoping somehow we can make this alright. Just keep on trying. Glass after glass, I keep hoping you'll come around. Drowning our fights in whatever can be found. 'Cause I've given in to all my demons lately. You know.
This next step is what really takes this project to a whole nother level. It's the caulk, and with any project, the caulk really finishes it off and gives it a professional, clean look. I talked to you guys in my last video, the foyer transformation, about how caulking has become my new favorite. I love it. I enjoy every step of this, and I think it's just because it's easy, and it just finishes off the project so nicely. As you can see, there is such a big difference between where the boards meet the ceiling as opposed to where the boards meet the wall. That bottom board right there, once the caulk is applied, then it is a seamless transition and there is no gap. I went around the room once with the caulk, let it dry for a little bit, and then I went around again. I didn't do the whole thing again. I just looked for any of the larger gaps that might have needed some more caulk, and there were some, but it's just going to depend on your walls, your ceiling, and your boards. So if it doesn't look flush enough for you, then just go ahead and do it again. Now this is what it looked like when it was all done. Well, of course it's not painted yet, but this is just a view of what the trim looks like before it gets painted. It is all finished right now with all its caulk. All the holes are filled in, and all that's left to do now is paint it. But before I get to the painting, I'm going to save all the painting for the end, but let's go ahead and move on to the shiplap feature wall above the fireplace. This is my inspiration pick, and the first thing that I needed to do was get the area cleared. I had thought long and hard, sat on the couch many nights looking to figure out how I wanted to rearrange this living room. I didn't know which wall, and once I put the feature wall up, once I put the shiplap up, that's where the fireplace is going to be. So I actually decided, we've lived in this house for 6 years, and now my main focal wall will be this wall that I'm working on right here. I'm going to move the fireplace over to this wall.
And the problem solved might be easier. For you, I do it all night. You're my only lifeline.
The first step in this project is to measure your 2 outer vertical boards. I used 1x4s for mine, and I'm just taking a measurement on either side and cutting those boards to size.
Funny how the story goes, little hope but bigger dreams. They try to bring a sucker down, singing louder than the crowd. Listen the rhythm, I'm feeling brand new. Keep pushing forward, it's gonna save you. Never look down, love, not when we shine so.
As I said earlier, I typically don't use adhesive when I'm applying things to walls, but these weren't aligning with the studs on either side, so I wanted to make sure that they were secure, so I am using an adhesive before I brad nail them up onto the wall. And of course, this step you want to definitely make sure that your boards are level. The next step is to measure the distance in between your boards, and this is where the shiplap will be. And I am using 1x6s for mine. That shiplap is always, it's your preference. You can, it's whatever look you're going for. So I could have used all 1x4s and had thinner shiplap strips, but I typically, well, not typically, I always use 1x6s for my shiplap. And I do have a lot of shiplap in my house at this point. I marked my studs, and so since I know where those are and I will be able to nail into the studs, I'm not using adhesive for the middle board. So on this project, the only two boards that I used adhesive on are the side boards. And so if I ever want to move the fireplace, it'll be easy to move the center shiplap part, and then I might just have to do a little bit of damage control for those two outer boards. You definitely want to make sure that the first board that you put up is level, and then just check each board and make sure that it's level as you continue down. Also, it just is going to depend again on your preference as far as how much of a gap you want. And a lot of people use spare change as their spacers. You can purchase spacers. I've done so much shiplap that I don't even use spacers anymore. And actually, I got really lucky on this project because, like I said, all of my boards are 1x6s up until that last board. I got extremely lucky when it came to that last board because a 1x4 fit perfectly in that space, so I didn't have to make any long cuts along the length of the board to make it fit in there. I was able to get by with a 1x4 that I had left over from the farmhouse trim. It's now time to fill in all the holes. I'm using the same wood filler that I used for the farmhouse trim, and I'm not sure if you noticed, it said stainable, and that is important when you are filling in your holes with wood filler. If you are going to stain your project, you want to make sure that you get the wood filler that says stainable. If not, your stain will not look good. So that's just a little tip for you. All of the boards are now secured to the wall. All of the holes are filled in with the wood filler. Then once that dried, I sanded it with 200 grit sandpaper, and now it's ready to be painted. Now that both projects are done, it's time to get them painted. And for the farmhouse trim, I'm just using a white paint that I got that was in stock at Menards. It's DuraClean, it's a satin finish, and it's the same paint that I just use this throughout my house for any time I need white. I like the paint, it goes on nice, it's super affordable, and then this one also has the lip, so it's easier to pour. So I'm just going around and painting, and just to let you know, when painting this project, just be prepared to have two areas where you might possibly want to tape off, at the wall and then at the ceiling. Like you guys know, I've done a lot of painting. I never tape off just because I have done a ton of painting throughout the years. So at this point, I don't need to tape. But if you're new to painting or you just don't trust yourself, then you definitely want to tape off before you start painting. The paint that I used over the fireplace for the shiplap wall is Sherwin-Williams Iron Ore, and that shouldn't be any surprise because, as you guys know, I'm obsessed with that paint right now. And as you saw in last week's video, I did the board and batten in this color, which is on the opposite side of this wall when you come in the front door, and you'll see that in a minute. You'll see the full living room and foyer all come together. But it just tied those ends, those two walls, just tied the room together to have this color as the accent on the wall coming into the room, and then also on this wall here. Both projects are now complete, so let's take a final look at the transformation of this room. My very last video, I did the board and batten accent wall in the foyer. So adding these 3 wood features in this room really added a lot of character and warmth to the space. I still have to decorate, build 2 more end tables, get a rug, and shop for new couches, but I have to get to my daughter's room next. So this room will be finished up after that. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I also hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.